but I think it's a classless, tasteless gesture from the Ravens hosting their 30th anniversary celebration.
Disgusting.
And Mary Kay Cabot, who joins us right now on the fan hotline. Mary Kay Cabot, I'm not yelling at you, I'm yelling at them because I don't give a damn that they say that they had it planned since March. You had 4 months to reevaluate plans. I don't give a damn what they said to you, Mary Kay.
Kay.
Not a single damn.
He's not buying it. He's
don't
just
care.
not buying it.
Well, I'm with you guys. I think
Thank you.
I think they should have changed it.
That's right.
I think they had plenty of time to change it.
They had 4 months, Mary Kay. They can kiss 4 months worth of my ass.
Wow.
Thinking that they couldn't have changed their plans.
Well, and I wrote this in my column the other day, that for someone who lived through that time 30 years ago, for someone who was in that stadium 30 years ago for that last football game of the Cleveland Browns, watching all those fans hugging and crying, watching Steve Everett go around embracing those fans and not wanting to leave, knowing what it did to families, and just to have the heart and soul out of Cleveland ripped right out of this town. And the thing that bothered me, one of the things that bothered me during that time is I don't remember, and maybe I just missed it, but I don't remember any of those politicians, some of whom will be on hand on Sunday. I don't remember them beginning any of their celebrations or statements at that time with a nod to Cleveland Browns fans and how much they were hurting over here in Cleveland. I don't recall that. Again, maybe I missed it, but that was one of the things that was, I think, hardest to take for Browns fans, was to watch the cheering and the gloating with no recognition of the fact that Cleveland Browns fans were just absolutely devastated in the same way Colts fans were in 1984. So that part bothered me, and I just don't think that this needs to take place on Sunday. I just think someone should have stepped up and said, let's do this another week.
Totally 100% agree. I do think it's kind of a... I think personally, Mary Kay, like I know what you and Tony have done, and you guys have made great cases here. I mean, let's put aside all the, well, I work for this company, they work for this company, da-da-da-da-da. I know what you guys have done to make sure, Art doesn't get in the Hall of Fame. And I know that I think the NFL and I think you voters are also very cognizant of how the fan reaction would have been if Art was alive to get in the Hall of Fame, and then even posthumously getting in the Hall of Fame. And I think that when you have Art Modell's son and all these people there, I think it's a way to kind of stick it to us going, okay, you're never going to let our guy in the Hall of Fame, but this is what we're going to do to you here. I feel personal about that. That's how I feel about it. Maybe I'm off the mark there, Mary Kay. I'm an emotional person, but I take it as a disrespect to the fans.
Well, I don't know. I can't say if that's the motivation, if that's sort of the whatever, middle finger to Art not being in the Hall of Fame. I was not in those rooms when Art was a finalist. I was not yet in those rooms, and I know Tony has done a very good job of stating his case and standing up for Browns fans and explaining what went on in those years. I was not in those rooms during that time, so I don't know if this has something to do with that, but I just think this is insensitive to Browns fans. And there will be plenty of Browns fans even in that stadium. And there is a decorum, there is a humanity that you need to operate with. And I'm sure that some other teams in the NFL would never even think of doing something like this to the Cleveland Browns fans. Forget about the politicians, forget about everybody else involved, and let's just think about the Browns fans whose lives were drastically changed during that time, not knowing if they were ever going to get the Browns back, and also knowing that this had happened to them in 1984. I would feel the same way if the Colts tried to do a celebration of Bob Irsay moving the Colts out of town in the middle of the night in trucks and moving vans, and how their marching band stayed back in Baltimore and played for however long in protest of what he did to those fans in Baltimore. I would feel the same way if the Indianapolis Colts did this to Baltimore. It's just not right. And I really wish they would have changed it.
So what an interesting spot for Joe Flacco, because he has a chance to go up against that team that partially celebrating some of his moments, I'm sure, because he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But at the same time, it's a team that said, you're not good enough for us. They went in a different direction. They drafted a young quarterback who is now going to be starting on the sideline. You got a chance to talk to Joe Flacco. What are the emotions going to be like for him?
I think the emotions are going to be running really, really high for him. And I don't think that he even realizes the full scope of what that's going to be like for him in that stadium on Sunday. And as you mentioned, and Joe talked about this yesterday, it's going to be even heightened because of that celebration and what's going on in that stadium. The fans are going to be so fired up. And then now knowing that Cleveland is unhappy with this celebration, I think that will even take it to another level. But for Joe, I think he's going to be experiencing something that he's never, ever felt before, and that's going back to the place where he played for 11 years, took them to the playoffs 6 times, 3 AFC championship games, a Super Bowl MVP. He's going to have family members there, friends there. He had all of his 5 children while he was a member of the Baltimore Ravens. And they did kind of cast him aside. I know there are family members of his that are going to be very, very emotional in that stadium that day. So I think it's going to be a big, big day for Joe. And I know he's going to have a lot of Cleveland Browns who are going to be rallying behind him to try to win this game.
Mary Kay Cabot with us on the fan hotline. What is the latest? Where do we stand with Quinshon Judkins right now? Could he be available Sunday?
I think there is a chance he can be available on Sunday. I believe that he will be back at practice today because no decision has been made by the NFL yet. They haven't decided to suspend him. So maybe that's coming today. Maybe that's coming tomorrow. I don't know. I was only told by the league yesterday that there is no time frame for the decision on what the league is going to do. Because of that, and because he's not going to be on the commissioner's exempt list, since there are no outstanding charges at the moment, or there won't be any outstanding charges for this incident. I do think that there's a world in which he can be available to play on Sunday unless the league steps in and makes a decision right away. So watch for him to be at practice today is what I'm guessing.
Man, that would be interesting to see him available this week. What would that mean for Sampson, who obviously was a huge focal point of the offense last week?
Well, he was a huge focal point of the offense, but he wasn't necessarily a huge part of the running game. I mean, he had 12 carries, but they still were not able to really run the ball the way they wanted to with Dillon and Jerome. So I think what this means for Quinshon is hopefully for them, hopefully for him, they'll be able to get that running game cranked up. They'll get their blocking schemes figured out. They'll have him running the power running game behind that offensive line. But once again, this was a defense that finished number 1 in the NFL against the run last year. So no matter who's back there, it's not going to be easy, but certainly they'll have a much better chance to make some hay on the ground if Quinshon can play.
Mary Kay with us on the show. Did you agree with keeping Andre Szmyt for Sunday?
I agree with developing a young kicker. I think this Cleveland Browns football team is moving towards its second wave of a Super Bowl window, and they're sort of straddling 2 worlds right now between their first Super Bowl window and that group of players and their second Super Bowl window and all of those guys that they drafted this year and are bringing along. And I think that perhaps Andre is in their second group of guys that they want to move forward with over the next 4, 5, 6 years, and I don't think they want to give up on him too early. So I understand that part of it. But for this particular week, I probably would have used another kicker.
So you hold on to him, but you put a new kicker in there?
Yes, I probably would have done that. I don't know that there are that many great kickers out there that would represent an upgrade for you this week. But when you miss a 33 and a 36, I think that I would have done something to feel a little bit more confident about that aspect of your game. You don't want to go 0-2 because of a kicker or largely because of a kicker. You don't want to go into Baltimore and not have an opportunity to win that game because you're going to miss the game-winning field goal. I probably would have done something for this week while still keeping an eye on developing your first-year kicker.
33 and 36. 69 yards of missed field goal. Mary Kay joining us right now. So, Mary Kay, obviously it has been many years that they have been starving for a kicker. Do you think they've gone about it the wrong way, or have they tried everything they possibly can and it's a crapshoot in general?
Well, I think they've tried a whole lot of things, including drafting Cade York pretty high. So they've tried a whole bunch of things, and then they thought they had the problem solved with Dustin Hopkins, and that 1 year turned out to be sort of an anomaly, and it just didn't work out. I, however, might have gone into the season still with Dustin Hopkins. I was kind of surprised that they didn't do that, but that probably would have been shaky too. I think they've done a lot, but obviously it hasn't worked out. I wondered if they would think about signing Jake Moody after he was released, and he's still now out there on the street. So who knows? Maybe you bring him on to your practice squad or something like that right now. I do think they need to have some backup plans.
Do you like the Jerry Jones? Well, Jerry Jones does talk tough a lot. Do you like that Jerry Jeudy was talking tough about the Ravens secondary?
Yeah, I mean, he only said 2 words. Just, the question was asked, what challenges do they present? And I think he said no challenges. But a little bit of trash talk coming out of both sides of these rivalries. I mean, you're going to expect that. You're going to get that. We got it last week when the Bengals and the Browns played each other. We got plenty of it. So, no, I don't really have a problem with it. It's what these guys do. It's how they get their game faces on.
All right, we talked about the rookies and obviously how excited we are, and you mentioned that window, Super Bowl window that could be associated with this next class. Could it just take one class for you to feel differently about Andrew Berry and his drafting acumen?
Well, this is certainly shaping up to be a really, really nice draft, the 2025 draft. When I look out there, I see a lot of core pieces that they can take forward over the next 4, 5, 6 years. And if these guys continue to get better and live up to what we all think they are going to be, then I think they have set a really nice foundation for the future. And I thought Mason and Carson had really nice games. I thought Harold Bannon, Dylan Sampson, these guys are going to be the future of the Cleveland Browns. And I think it was a really strong draft class for sure.
Mary Kay Cabot on the Fan Hotline. Super Bowl window, really?
Well, they're aiming for the next one. And the key piece, of course, for the next one is the quarterback. And that's what a lot of this season is going to be about, scouting the quarterbacks in the draft. And if they can get that piece, like I said, they're still in the middle of 2 worlds for Super Bowl windows. But if you can get that quarterback when you still have Miles and Denzel and David and Greg and Grant and some of those key pieces around, and then you're bringing along the Carsons and the Masons and the Sampsons and the Judkins and this whole crew, then you just might be able to get away with something over the next few years while those younger guys kind of grow up and grow into themselves. But certainly, yes, there are 2 different worlds going on right now.
Mike Hall going to go on Sunday?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know for sure. I'll know more after we watch practice today, but I know he's certainly getting closer. So this is either his next big step up into practice, or it's an opportunity for him to go out and get a number of snaps in the rotation, maybe 12, 15, 17 snaps, something like that. I think we'll know a lot more today.
All right, Mary Kay, we thank you very much for the time. All the very best to you and yours, as I always say, and I always mean it. And we'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Mary Kay Cabot on the Fan Hotline.
Say Judkins could be available. Could be playing this Sunday.
I think there were 3 surprising things that were said there. Developing Andre Szmyt. 4 to 5 years. Can you develop a kicker?
It's in the UFL last year.
Well, how do you develop a kicker? Like, you can develop, like I brought up earlier, Mahmoud Diabate. You can develop him. You can develop DeJuan Jones.
Work on some kicking.
You could develop maybe even Zach Zinter. How do you develop a kicker? I'm all ears.
You coach him up.
You
coach him up.
You coach up everybody. What do you mean by that?
Well, you got to coach him up.
But you develop everybody else, right?
You got to coach him up. You got to front load the contract. You got to coach him up.
You develop everybody else, right?
How do you go about developing him, Anthony?
You work on all the finer things.
What are the finer
points?
What are the finer points?
Mechanics. That's why you have special teams coach, right?
Are you going to embolden his chance? And what are those mechanics, Anthony?
You'd have to talk to a special teams guru. Get nitty-gritty with it.
Who would that be?
Bubba Ventrone. Expert
I can't
kicker.
get Bubba Ventrone on the show. I don't know if Bubba Ventrone ever kicked anything.
Yeah, I remember when he kicked, yeah.
Which it's weird because I don't like people go, when's Bubba Ventrone going to answer for this? I go, I don't, what is he going to do? I don't know if he can make if Bubba Ventrone has given up punt return yards and kick return yards, which he did, by the way, that's what I charge him for. The kicking, make your kicks. Okay, is that it?
I would like to think there's more science to it than
5
that.
years.
I will tell you, I have a young kicker on my team, and we always tell him, visualize it.
She said 4 to 5 years.
I don't know if they're doing that.
Visualize what?
It.
What is it?
The whole making it happen.
I'm not trying to be difficult here. I'm really not.
Trying to get the ball in the middle of the two posts.
Coach him up. Coach what up?
There's the left one.
Visualize it.
There's the right one.
Visualize what?
Gonna need to angle that ball in the middle of them.
Be the ball.
I mean, you laugh, but
you wouldn't kick yourself.
There's a big psychology involved here.
I would, but it'd be weird if I was out there in either one, the 11-year-old game or the NFL game. It'd be weird. They'd go, why is that fat bearded man out there?
Super Bowl window.
Get the ball right through that window.
Oh, yeah.
Right through it. Super Bowl.
You're going to want to see a Super Bowl. You want to get to it.
Super Bowl post here to the left. Super Bowl post to the right. Get it in there.
Visualize yourself in the Super Bowl.